Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology, taking you to new heights with inspired perspectives that transcend the details. Today you're watching your astrology horoscope for the full moon in Virgo, which occurs on Saturday, February 24th, 2024 at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time or 4:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Now, what I think this full moon in Virgo is really all about is about us putting into action and trying out new and unique, revolutionary, innovative ways of going about life that we haven't tried before, and it actually working out very well to yield new, interesting, exciting possibilities for us. But even though we're trying new things and it's working out well, I think deep down we're ignoring that there are still some things from the past that we haven't fully released yet or figured out, and that there's still some emotional healing that still needs to be done that I think will come back up to the surface to be dealt with, not now, but I think probably 2 weeks from now. So that's what this full moon I think is about. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned because we're going to hop into it right now. In order to get started, what I like to do first is, of course, to place it on the chart so that you can see what it is that I'm referring to in this video and follow along with me. So let me do that now. This video, it's for that full moon in Virgo. As a result, I have adjusted the chart accordingly. I know that because I've got the moon here in Virgo at 5 degrees, making an exact opposition over here to the sun in Pisces at 5 degrees. And when the moon opposes the sun here, this is what is considered a full moon here. And of course, it's in the sign of Virgo. Hey, now, what are full moons all about? Well, full moons are all about stepping into things that we have been working towards for quite some time here, or taking them as far as they can go, because it is when the moon is the furthest from the sun here. Not only that, it's also about bringing things more to fulfillment, right? Full moon, fulfillment here. In addition to that, full moons can also as well bring insights or illuminations that we didn't see before, because that is when the moon is very bright in the sky here. And it can also at times require decisions because it is a function of an opposition, right? And it's hard to do two opposite things at once. Right? What is it that we are stepping into or bringing to fulfillment or getting insights about or making decisions about in some sort of way? Well, this full moon is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is a Mercury-ruled sign. Mercury does have a lot to do with the way we think and our mindset. And Virgo Mercury, being an earth sign, is more practical way of thinking, a more strategic, detailed, disciplined, planned, thoughtful sort of thinking here as well. So that's one of the things that we're trying to step into here, is more strategic thinking, planned, detailed, thoughtful here about our life, about what's going on. In addition to that, here, Virgo is an earth sign as well. It's also about our habits and our routines and doing things in a more habitual way and in a more routine way here on the day to day. So not only, right, are we trying to step into perhaps a better or different way of thinking that's more planned, thoughtful, strategic, but we're also trying to step into a different or better daily habit and daily routine where we're doing something more regularly here or more consistently. In addition to that, I do need to note that Virgo is a mutable sign here, which tends to be more about adjusting things, or usually a word I use with Virgo is fixing things, right? Because you got to use that strategic mind to fix things here or adjust them here in a better way, especially the physical world here, again, with it being the earth sign. Here in us maybe making decisions here about what might need to be adjusted in the physical world. Okay, so that to me are the main themes here that I think are going on at this full moon. Just to recap that, we're trying to step into a more thoughtful, strategic, planned, detailed mindset here in a better routine, daily routine, or better habits here that is going on, where we're able to fix or adjust some things in our life in order to make them better. Okay, now, before I move forward to give you more specific details about that full moon in Virgo and about how it's going to play out, what I do like to do now is to go backwards in time a bit before I go forward here to give you more of the context of how we got here, because I do believe that the context is super important and can change a lot about what the full moons are about, because we have a full moon in Virgo every year. So what makes one different than the other? It's the other alignments that are occurring and have accumulated. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go talk about that. If you're not interested in that, or if you've already heard it and it is getting kind of long, you can go ahead and skip forward in this video. I'll do my best to put the timestamps down below. I think maybe I forgot them last video. I'm not sure. I'll do my best to put the timestamps in this video so that you can navigate it as you like. But I'm going to go ahead and hop into it now. I think I'm also going to do a slightly abbreviated version. I'm going to start with the alignment I usually like to start with, which is going to be a significant alignment that happened between January to April here of 2020. At that time, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all came conjunct here towards the middle to end degrees of the sign of Capricorn. Now, this is a very difficult alignment because Pluto and Saturn are involved, which are outer planets, and a lot of times more difficult for us to understand here. And because Jupiter was involved in Capricorn, a sign it does not really like to be in. Not only was this a difficult alignment, but it was also, I need to note, a rare one and a unique one, and a rare one because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct here about every 35 years. It doesn't happen that often, and not always with Jupiter present as well. So a rare, difficult alignment here that was going on. What is the challenge here that was happening? Well, Saturn was involved here in its home sign of Capricorn. That can indicate feeling stuck in some way or just not right here about our lives and about the way it had been going for the past 35 years here that had been happening. Not only that, but can also indicate us feeling as though some changes needed to be made in order to end, right? Pluto is about change and about endings, to end these things in our life that we weren't happy with and that we felt stuck by here, and to make big changes, with Jupiter being a very big planet in order to do that. So that's what happened in January to April of 2020. I don't like something about my life in the past few decades it's been going that I don't like anymore. I need to make big change in order to end that so that I can move on. Okay. And that's what we did, I think, in various ways for 2 years here until the next alignment that I want to mention, which happened around April of 2022. Okay, in April of 2022, we had a new moon solar eclipse here in the sign of Taurus. Okay. What is this all about? Well, I consider this a helpful thing here because it was on the North Node, I need to add. Okay, new moons are about new beginnings. Solar eclipses superpower that in a helpful way on the North Node, and it's in the sign of Taurus. What is Taurus about? Taurus is about fertility. It's about abundance. It's about things feeling more fertile and able to grow something different here, grow something better here with a better environment for us to do so here. That was moving forward. So in April 2022, 2 years after we realized there's a lot of things we got to end we don't like, okay, we finally started to feel like we've ended enough things and we're in a better, more fertile place to consider what might be next in a new and different way in our lives here that's better than what we just released. Okay, which I thought was helpful. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which happened about 2 weeks, so very soon after that, also somewhere around April 2022. And that was a full moon lunar eclipse that we had in the opposite sign here of Scorpio on the South Node. Now, that was a bit more challenging here than the last alignment, and that's a bit more challenging here. Sure, maybe because it's a full moon. Sometimes full moons can be more challenging than new moons here, but especially because it was on the South Node. Okay, and the South Node is difficult here because it's a lot about habits and patterns that come naturally to us and come easily to us, but that are no longer useful anymore for what we need to create going forward here, that we kind of have to get rid of. That's hard, right? It's hard to get rid of things that you're used to doing here. That can be quite challenging here, that the full moon is going to force us to make decisions about and to figure out, hey, what were those habits that we were kind of stuck in, but that were no longer useful to the new fertile experience of life that's now here. Well, those were Scorpio habits, not because Scorpio is a bad sign, just because the South Node happened to be there at that time. And Scorpio, when negative here, is a lot about getting too intertwined with relationships and other people, or giving our power away to others. When it's negative, it can also manifest as indulging negative emotions, trauma from the past here, and staying stuck in some of those that negativity here. Not only that, but it can also too be about money and spending too much money here. That can be going on, and it's also a sign of change, making too much change that we needed to get rid of. Right? Because we're in a new experience of life. We're starting to be, and making crazy changes when you're in a new experience of life doesn't help. Spending a lot of money when you don't know what the new experience, right? Giving your power away to other people isn't going to help build the new beginning. So we started to realize that we needed to get rid of those habits that was going on. Hey, that was insightful. but challenging. And if I can be honest with you, I think it took us pretty much all of 2022 to really figure that out and to really get it through our heads what old habits needed to go and what new ones needed to come together. It wasn't until the very beginning of last year, 2023, after Mars went retrograde in Gemini and Mercury went retrograde in Capricorn, the same place that Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn came conjunct at the beginning of 2020, that we started to get it through our heads. Okay, January of 2023. Okay, and in January of 2023, right, Mercury, mental, was we finally started to get what habits we didn't need. We finally started to adjust our habits, right, to not make as much change, intertwined with relationships, spending money. And we started to adjust some of our relationships and money as well to be different and more secure and more conducive to a new and better beginning here that happened in our lives, which I think was meant to be good. And that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, also around April of last year, 2023. Okay, in April of last year, 2023, we then had a new moon solar eclipse here in the sign of Aries on the North Node, which I also want to think of as helpful because it was on the North Node. And what is that about? Well, new moons are about new beginnings. Here, solar eclipse is superpower that, and Aries is also about new beginnings, being the first sign of the zodiac here. So that was about us feeling more ready now that we've got the proper perspective, or a better perspective here, to move forward yet again into a new, different, better, more fertile experience of life that we started to feel was there the year prior here, and to move forward into it in a better way. Okay, which again, I thought was good. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which happened a few months after that. I want to say, well, was it a few months? I want to say it was somewhere around like the end of May into June here of 2023. And what happened there is that we had Venus then go retrograde in the sign of Leo. Okay, now this is a bit of a challenge here. And this is a bit of a challenge because it's a personal planet, which we can feel more personally in our lives here going retrograde, which is a direction that's not the most natural to it here, making us feel stuck yet again, right? It's a planet slowing down, appearing to go backwards, making us feel stuck and not quite ready yet to move forward in this different experience again after all we've been through here, which was frustrating. Why were we stuck now again and unable to move forward? Well, last year we were stuck because we had habits and mindsets in which we were changing too much, giving our power away to others, spending too much money. Well, this year it's different. In 2023, our issue was with the Leo. Leo has a lot to do with our heart and love and passion and the things we feel and enjoy and feel connected to. And with Venus retrograde there, we weren't honoring that fully to the extent that we needed. We weren't truly in touch with our heart, our passions, and what we enjoyed, and therefore couldn't move forward, because the new chapter in life is one of joy and passion and not of one of sorrow and hardship. Here that was going on. That was very difficult. And because that was going on and we were feeling stuck, I think what ended up happening also around June or July of last year, 2023, is that we ended up having to make a big, hard decisions here, especially when Pluto was at the last degree of Capricorn, making a square to the nodal axis, including the South Node and the North Node, which is an indicator of decisions. We ended up having to make some big, hard decisions here to change Pluto, change more things in our life here so that we could honor our emotions and honor our happiness and our joy and our pleasure and fully tap into that and let go of Capricorn tradition, rules, structures that weren't conducive to what we were actually feeling and what we actually desired here. And I think that, again, it was difficult, but I think that it is that we started to do it. Because we did that, I think at the beginning of this year, now I'm going to fast forward to this year, 2024, Pluto very recently re-entered the sign of Aquarius. I'm not quite sure when was that. Must have been January, February, sometime of this year, past few weeks. January 2024, we'll just say that. Pluto entered the sign of Aquarius. Pluto can be a lot about our deep desires. Aquarius is a lot about freedom, future. It's a new sign about doing things differently here that's going on. We then started to feel more free now here to move forward in a different experience of life here that it is that we needed, where we had the structure to do so, but also we're honoring more of our heart and more of our soul's desires here that was going on. That then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which I think I'm going to fast forward now to the new moon that happened just 2 weeks ago here, which was in the sign of Aquarius, right, where that Pluto was in February here. And at that new moon in Aquarius here, I think we then tried to move forward yet again on the new beginnings, new unique approaches to life here to try to do what we've been really trying to do for a while and to move it forward. And I think what happened 2 weeks ago is that we had difficulty moving forward in that new approach, especially with the North Node recently making a conjunction with Chiron here and doing things in unique ways, because I think we still felt as though we had some things from the past that weren't really where they needed to be, or some emotions inside that still needed some healing. And I think we took a brief moment here to tend to more old things from the past or to heal some of those. And because we did that 2 weeks ago now, this full moon, of which this video is for here in Virgo, we are feeling now more able and I think more ready to do unique approaches to life here in a more habitual way, a more routine way, and in a more practical and realistic way about our situation here that's kind of easier to break down into bite-sized pieces in order for us to accomplish and in order for us to achieve. Okay, that's going on there, which is where we're at. Okay, we're now finally feeling though we can do new, unique, innovative approaches to life in a more practical, realistic, habitual way after taking some time to heal. And that's it, because that's all I'm going to say now about the context. I'm now going to move back in to this full moon itself and to the details and a lot of the alignments that are going around that time. So I'm going to do that. In order to do that, I'm just going to place on the chart here again where that full moon is, just so make sure we know what we're talking about and we can all see it here for reference. So I'm going to do that. Here's the full moon in Virgo, making an opposition over here to the sun in Pisces. Okay, that's what we've got. And this full moon in Virgo, again, to say it with everything I've said in this video so far to synthesize, is about us starting to do new, unique, and innovative approaches to life that we haven't tried before, very different, in a more habitual and routine way on a daily basis, that's more practical, that's more thought out, maybe even smaller, bite size, easier for us to accomplish or achieve here in some sort of way. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Now what I want to take a look at next is actually not going to be this full moon itself, even though I'm going to come back to that. I want to take a look first at an alignment that has happened around the full moon here. And I want to take a look first at that because this alignment has in some ways been going on for a few days prior to this. So really happened before the full moon here and is influencing it. But also too, because I think it's very, very, very significant of an alignment here that's going on. And the one I want to take a look at is going to be Mars and Venus here in the sign of Aquarius, making a conjunction with one another here at the same time that they're both also making a square here to Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. So I want to talk about this first. What is this? This to me is a very good alignment here, at least one that I personally like a lot. Okay, what do I like about it? Well, let's start here with the Mars and Venus. We have Mars and Venus in a conjunction with each other. And while Mars sometimes I'm a little iffy on, I love this pair together, Mars with Venus. Why do I like it together? Well, Mars is typically known as the masculine principle here. It's more about action, about doing things. You're more motivated. And we get it here connecting with Venus, which is typically known as the feminine principle, more receptive, more peaceful, maybe even more nurturing, more calm here in some ways. And I think it's fair to say that when the masculine and feminine principles get together here, it creates a lot of excitement, a lot of chemistry here that's going on, and is very creative, can create new life or new things, especially with it being a conjunction, which is a new phase about new things here as well. That's going on, coming together better, right? We're doing things with more ease, we're excited here, and it's in Aquarius. And Aquarius is a lot about unique and innovative approaches to life, revolutionary things that are more authentic to us, that maybe are tried and true, that we haven't tested before. So this is us doing, right, more unique, innovative things in an easier way, and it feeling good, chemistry, creative, bringing things together. In addition to that, here we've got a square to Jupiter. And while squares aren't always positive, I personally just tend to like Jupiter most of the time. Okay, I tend to like Jupiter because Jupiter is the planet, it can be the planet of gifts, blessings, good luck, and also too of wisdom and understanding. And that's really where blessings come from. Blessings come from wisdom and understanding. When you understand something, it makes things better or easier for you to work with things in a better way. Okay, so I tend to like it. What are the good things that are going on here? Well, again, Jupiter's about wisdom and understanding. Here it's in Taurus, about our needs, about our values. It's also a practical sign, being an earth sign here, and the things that are important to us. And it's also one of confidence too, and helping us to expand more there. So not only is this alignment here about us creating more unique, innovative approaches to life here, but it's also us becoming more confident and more secure in those, and honing in on which of those might be the more practical for us to start at this time. Not only that, but another thought here about this alignment is that Jupiter as well can bring excitement and passion here, feeling very excited, very passionate about this stuff here that I think is very good. And I think that's really where I want to lean the most right now with the interpretation. But if I did want to say one negative thing about this here before I move forward, the negative thing that a lot of times can happen with squares to Jupiter is that sometimes it can create over exuberance. We're so excited about something that maybe we're not seeing things clearly, which we'll talk more about in a minute. Here that is going on when we get to some other alignments. So that's what I want to say here so far. Maybe now to synthesize this and bring this together. What's going on at this full moon in Virgo is that we're trying to do some unique, innovative habits or approaches to life in a more habitual, routine way on the day-to-day that's more practical and more well thought out here. And it's working, right? It's working. We're feeling creative. We're feeling excited. We're feeling passionate. We're bringing new approaches to life that we haven't tried before. It's coming together. It's feeling more easy in some ways and more exciting, which is good, even though we may be a little overexcited and not seeing certain things here that's going on. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here going on. And I think the next alignment that I want to mention here is going to be now back to that full moon here that's going on, because we've got the sun here in Pisces making some interesting conjunctions here that's happening. Hey, when do I want to talk about first? Maybe I'll talk about Saturn first while we're at it. We've got the sun here in a conjunction with Saturn, which of course the moon is opposing here at this time. Now, this is a bit difficult compared to the other alignments that I've mentioned that's going on, or in contrast with them. What is the difficult thing that's going on here? Well, the sun is conjunct Saturn. Saturn is typically known as a little bit more of a challenging planet here, especially starting to become the outer planets, getting in that direction here, and being typically known as the planet of hard work or of restriction here, or delays in some sort of way. So this can be a little bit challenging here too, us feeling restricted here that is going on. What is it that is making us feel a little stuck or a little restricted here at this time? Well, we have Saturn in the sign of Pisces here. What is Pisces about, where the sun is? Well, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. The last sign of the zodiac has a lot to do with the past, with old things, reconciling old things, finishing old things, releasing old things, putting old things in their place. Not only is it about that, but Pisces is also a water sign. Water signs are more internal too. They're more emotional as well. And and Pisces in particular is about healing, but healing the emotions. Virgo to me is more healing the physical world. Pisces to me is more healing the inner world, the emotions here that's going on. So I think that we're feeling stuck in some ways because there's some things from the past that maybe still haven't fully been resolved, maybe in a tangible way, in the way that they need, and because there's some emotions here about the past that we haven't fully healed or grieved. Sometimes grief can come in, right, with the end past, releasing things here and working through that. Not only do I want to note this about this alignment as well, Saturn can make us feel stuck, right? Because of those reasons that I've said. But sometimes the way I see Saturn and Pisces is that it may make us feel stuck with Saturn and Pisces and not even know why, right? Because Saturn likes things practical, but Pisces is more a watery world where things are in the subconscious or in the other realms. So not only do I think that this conjunction to Saturn that the sun's making can make us weirdly feel stuck and restricted, which I think is because of the past, right? That we haven't fully released or healed or worked through here. This can make us not know why we're stuck, right? I'm telling you why, but make us not know why we're stuck, or sometimes know that we still have things from the past, but then forget and kind of be a little hazy there as well. That's going on, okay? Right? Because sometimes Saturn can block things, and if Pisces about our emotions in the subconscious, because sometimes our emotions are subconscious, it can make us not fully know what's going on within us, even though we kind of have some weird inklings about it, okay? So what that means to me, to now synthesize and bring this together before adding another piece on, what I think is happening at this full moon in Virgo, okay, is that we are starting to do things in new, unique, and innovative ways in our life that we've never done before, in a more routine, habitual way on the day-to-day. Here, that's more practical, more bite-sized, more workable here, and it coming together, feeling good, creating new things, and us getting very, very excited about all of it. But even though we're doing new things and it's coming together and we're feeling excited, there's still some weird nagging feeling deep inside our soul that maybe we can't put a finger on here about something still not being right, or still feeling stuck, or still feeling uncomfortable, which I personally think is because there's still some things from the past that either need to be worked through in the physical or healed and worked through in the emotional here that is going on. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here, which is going to be the conjunction the sun is making on the other side, okay, to Mercury here in the sign of Pisces. Okay, now this is also difficult, the sun conjunct Mercury here in Pisces, and this is also difficult because Mercury doesn't like to be in the sign of Pisces here that's going on. Just like we as humans do and don't like certain places, do and don't like certain colors, don't like certain people, planets are the same way. They do and don't like certain things here as well. Okay, and Mercury doesn't really care to be in the sign of Pisces because it's opposite the sign of Virgo, its natural sign that it does like to be in. Right? So this is hard. What is the difficulty about it? Well, Mercury has a lot to do with our thought processes here, things that we're thinking about. It also has to do with communication here, talking to other people here that's going on and trying to bring that together. Maybe it can even have to do with technology here as well, if you wanted to think about it in that way. And in Pisces, right, where Mercury doesn't like to be, it can make that hard. It can make our thoughts unclear. Here, we thought we were thinking clearly, now we don't know. It can bring confusion in our thoughts. Not only that, but it can also too bring miscommunications. You know, I said something, but the other person didn't get it, or something weird happened. It can bring miscommunications there like that. That can also be a bit of a challenge here at this time. Why can Mercury and Pisces do that? Well, remember, Mercury's at home in Virgo where the full moon is. It likes practical things. It likes finite things that are more logical in a way. And Pisces isn't really logical. It's emotional, and it has a lot of feelings that can crowd the judgment. So I think that this is us starting to get more confused, have miscommunications, maybe even with the Pisces get overwhelmed because, again, there's these emotions from the subconscious really about our past that haven't fully been healed and worked through here, that is starting to that still hasn't been fully dealt with, that's starting to creep up more and more and more and cloud our logic that, again, maybe we're not fully aware of here at this time that is going on here. That can feel a bit challenging. Okay, so now to bring that part together, and then we're getting close to the end of this part of the interpretation. What I think is going on here at this full moon in Virgo is that we are starting to do things in our life in unique, innovative, revolutionary ways that we've never tried before on a more habitual, regular, daily, routine basis that's more practical and workable here. And it's coming together and feeling exciting, making us feel more confident, more secure, giving us different understandings about our life, which is very positive. But even though it's coming together, there's still this nagging feeling somewhere deep inside us that something's off or wrong or not quite coming together here in the way that it might like to be, which is making us feel confused and eventually overwhelmed and maybe have miscommunications here. And the thing that's off that maybe we don't really see it, I don't think it's super conscious, is that there's still more healing from the past that I think needs to be done that hasn't been done, maybe even some more things from the past physically that still need to be resolved here that maybe haven't fully been resolved here in the way that they need to either, which can be frustrating here. And maybe I need to add another thought as I was putting all that together. Not only can that be frustrating, but that can also, with the Pisces, make us eventually, and I don't think this is going to happen right at the full moon, but in a days after, a week or so after, can make us feel exhausted, confused, and lose steam. Can make us lose steam eventually on these good things that are coming together and just all of a sudden feel like, oh, I can't do anymore, and I'm hitting a brick wall here that can be a little bit of a challenge. Okay. I think now what I'm going to do, there are some other alignments that are going on here that I could mention, right? The Sun sextile Jupiter and Saturn there, the North Node conjunct Chiron. But I think what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to switch into giving you some advice here about how to handle that. And because that's just what I think I'm feeling like I want to get into. So I'm going to do that. And I think the advice that I want to give you here now about all of this is probably going to be back a bit to that full moon in Virgo for a minute and this Venus and Mars square Jupiter. And I think the advice with that about how to handle that is that full moons, let's start there. Full moons are going to push us towards a certain area. They bring a lot of energy for us to accomplish something. And Virgo does like to stay busy. It likes to stay busy. It likes to do things on a regular basis on the day-to-day. And the Mars, Venus, and Aquarius is bringing some good vibes, even though they may fizzle out as more time goes on. And even though there's something sneaky going on under the surface. And so I think the first piece of advice that I want to give you knowing that is that even though there's still some more emotional stuff under the surface that hasn't been worked out, I think that for now, for this full moon in Virgo, we need to keep trying to do unique and innovative things. And that's not a bad thing here that's going on. I think that's part of the advice. If you watched my video 2 weeks ago, I said, I might hold off on doing things and I might wait a bit, to heal and to detach from all of that. Well, now I'm going to give you a different advice here. I think that doing and trying unique and innovative things, even if there's still some more emotional healing and things that need to be worked out, I think doing and trying things is the way to go here. And again, it's the difference between the new moon being in Aquarius and the full moon being in Virgo. Aquarius is about detaching. I'm going to detach and not deal. Okay. We needed to take a break. Full moon's in Virgo. Virgo's busy. It does stuff. So first piece of advice, even though there's something under the surface that's not right, I would still try to do things in unique and innovative ways, even if you're going to fizzle out. Okay. Why? Maybe now I'll get to a thought about why that might be the advice that I want to give you here. Well, sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you try, until you do stuff. Or sometimes you don't know what still needs to be healed, what still needs to be worked through from the past until you do something and it fails, or till you do something and something else comes up. So not only do I want to say now in this advice portion here of the video is that I think this time we need to keep trying new things here, even if something's not right about it. And I think we need to keep trying new things because the more that we try new things and then feel weird about it, here, it's going to alert as to where more healing is needed and where more things need to be adjusted from the past that maybe we couldn't see otherwise. Maybe we wouldn't know otherwise here, except from the act of trying, right? Okay, in order to bring more things to the surface here that's going on. Okay, not only is that part of the advice that I want to give you here, keep trying to do new things, even if there's something not right about it, because it's going to help you alert more to what still needs to be fixed and healed from the past and all of that. But I also want to give you another thought here too, is that eventually, we're going to need to slow down again. Eventually, we're going to need to slow down again to heal these things that are going to come up, especially with the North Node still conjunct Chiron for a few more weeks here. And that's probably going to be around that new moon in Pisces 2 weeks from now. Because as to where the full moon's in Virgo, busy, Pisces is more slow, restful, and all of that. Okay. So other piece of advice, try now at this full moon and for the next week or two to do more unique and innovative things, even if it fizzles out, even if it doesn't feel right, because that's going to alert you to more healing that needs to be done from the past, or more things from the past aren't where they need to be. But also realize that once you're alerted to that stuff, that eventually, probably somewhere around 2 weeks from now, that new moon in Pisces, you're going to have to slow down, stop doing as many new things, and go back to the healing. Okay, once you get the more insights here about what that is that will need to be worked out. Okay. So that's another thought there. Another thought, while we're on this note, that I want to give you too, is that we're going to have to slow down again, not now, 2 weeks from now, around then, at that new moon in Pisces, to work through the past. But I also want to manage our expectations as well, and tell you too that we're probably not going to fully get this new stuff that we're trying in a more concrete way, with more momentum to do it, until Aries season, which is what, the end of March, April sometime, right around there. Okay, and we're probably not going to get it until then, even though we're starting to figure it out now here, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, which is the astrological new year, about doing new things here, and when we have more momentum to do that. Also too, because there's going to be a solar eclipse in Aries, and solar eclipses superpower that. And also too, because Mercury is going to go retrograde in the sign of Aries. And until that happens, right, Aries being the first sign, new beginnings, and until Mercury finishes the retrograde, we're not going to have fully gotten this, through our heads in the way that it is that we need. So I'm trying to tell you here, try new and unique things now, keep going. Okay, because it's going to alert you to what still needs to be resolved and healed from the past. Okay, and that 2 weeks from now at the moon in Pisces, you're going to have to slow down probably to heal and resolve more of those old things from the past. But the healing and the resolving of more old things from the past is probably going to continue in some way, shape, or form until April here. And it's really not until April that we're going to get the stride more to sustain more of these unique and innovative approaches to life. It's probably not until April when we're going to get that big stride, especially when Jupiter conjuncts Uranus, which is a huge alignment going on this year, and a good one, in order to bring all of that together and to know that, to manage here your expectations around it. Okay, not only do I want to give you that as some advice, but maybe I'll give you some others here too. And maybe I'll go back to the fact that the sun and Saturn, right, the sun being a part of this full moon, are making a sextile to Jupiter here in Taurus, which is a good alignment. I like sextiles. I almost always, I think sextiles, I don't really focus on as much, but I always interpret them in a positive way here, which I tend to like here as being very helpful. What is the helpful thing about this? Well, we've got the Pisces and the Taurus are what are making the sextile. Neither of these are faster signs here. They're more signs that like just take life as it comes, or are more surrendered to the process and to whatever it takes here that might be going on, especially with the Pisces being connected to that. So not only, right, to continue building on this advice that I want to give you is like, try new things now, because it's going to alert you to what isn't right. And then once you're alerted to what those isn't right, then you're going to need to focus on that, which is going to take you probably more time than you think it's going to take you to really resolve here until April that's going on. And while you're doing all of this, don't feel like you need to rush. Don't feel like you need to be on any certain timeline here, and go more with the flow of what needs to happen and when it needs to happen here. Maybe be more flexible in some ways, and try your best to trust in the process here, because that might better help you navigate some of this stuff here that is going on at this time. Okay. Yeah. Surrender. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and to focus on some of that. Okay, and I think that's it. I think that's all that I'm going to say. That feels important for me to say right now. So because of that, I'm now just going to end my interpretation there and repeat all of that one last time before we move on. So let me do that. What I think is going on here at this full moon in Virgo is that we are starting to do new, unique, innovative things in our life that we've never tried before here in a more routine, habitual way on the day-to-day that's more practical, more realistic, and more workable here for our situation, which I think is very nice. And it's actually coming together. And I think interesting, cool, exciting ways, making us feel more confident here and more secure about our life and the path that it is that we're on. Okay? But even though we're trying new, unique things and it's coming together in a more regular way, I think that there's still something deep down that we feel off about or doesn't feel right or is eventually not going to feel right here about this stuff that's going on, and is going to make us feel confused, overwhelmed, exhausted, or have miscommunications about these very new things that we're starting that are exciting here that I think is going to be hard for us, we're not going to be aware of. And I think what is stopping us that we aren't aware of and is bringing the confusion is really the fact that there's still more old things from the past here that we haven't fully healed or released or worked through in some kind of way that still needs to be done, that is bubbling up to our subconscious here that's going on here at this time. Okay, and because that's what I think is going on here at this full moon and over the course of the next week or two, and I want to give you some advice. And the advice that I want to give you is to really keep trying to do new, unique, and innovative things anyways, even if you feel off about it, or even if there's some haziness here that's going on, because I think that that is going to alert you to what old things from the past still need to be resolved or healed that you wouldn't have been able to see or figure out here any other way. Okay, not only is that the advice to keep trying to do new things, but that once you're alerted to what isn't right here from the past or isn't fully healed, to know that you're going to have to slow down again in order to deal with that, in order to deal with and heal more of these old things before moving forward, which will probably happen 2 weeks from now at that new moon in Pisces and continue until April sometime before you fully get the stride here in this new way, and to try your best when that happens to be more flexible, more go with the flow here, and more trusting here and at peace with the process here as it happens, because the process, you know, and the divine is going to get you to where you need to go by the end of all of this around April here sometime. Okay, and I think that's it. Okay. Now, are there any other thoughts? Sometimes here I like to add an extra thought or few about the energy. And I think there's one thought right now, maybe more will come as I'm talking, as usually happens. But I think the one thought that comes to me right now is I want to connect last horoscope I did 2 weeks ago for that new moon in Aquarius to this horoscope. Last horoscope I did 2 weeks ago for that new moon in Aquarius, I said we needed to stop and heal some things before trying new stuff. And then this horoscope, I'm saying, all right, now let's try new things here that's going on and see what happens here. And I want to connect the two and say that what happened last in between, right? Last horoscope and this one here is that we did heal some of the things that we needed to heal, and we did fix some of the things from the past, more things from the past that were in the way of us moving forward. But even though we did do that, and that's beautiful, like I'm not discounting that, that's beautiful, that's wonderful, we just didn't do it all. We just didn't heal all the things that we needed to heal or work through all of the things from the past that we really needed to work through, and the way that it is that we did, we just didn't do all of it. Okay, and we're eventually going to need to finish doing all of it, or finish doing more of it, right? Like maybe it's not about all, since it's a lifelong journey to heal all of this, but we're going to have to finish doing more, a little bit more of it still here, especially at the new moon in Pisces 2 weeks from now. Okay, so I think I wanted to state that. Here, in case y'all are curious, like we did do some healing the past few weeks and more releasing of the past. We just didn't do as much of it as we really need to at this point in order to get that stride, and we're eventually going to have to pick that up. Okay, the other thought that I want to offer with you as well is not only did we do some healing, but we just didn't really do as much of it. I don't want to say all of it, right? Because healing is a lifelong journey. It's just as much of it. That's it. Okay, another thing that I want to say is that all the healing, we just didn't do as much of it. Another thing that I want to say here is that, and I think I made this clear earlier in the video, is that us trying to do things now without actually having healed and released all of the stuff is going to help us figure that out. You know, is going to help us figure out more and more what still needs to be released from the past here in some kind of way. So even though we can think of this full moon in Virgo of like trying new things and doing things in innovative ways, really the purpose of trying new things and doing things in innovative ways is not to fully do the new things yet. That's Aries season. That's what Aries season is for. Every year, trying new things and all of that. Okay, it's really to help us understand better what still needs to be healed and what still needs to be worked through here that's going on. And I to just keep that in mind. Okay. We started some healing before. There's just still a little more of it that for some reason needs to be done at this time that we're eventually going to have to pick up. But in order for us to figure out what more of that healing is, we kind of need to just do things to see where we're at, to see where we're at and to feel things out here before picking it all up. Okay. Another thought that just came to me as well, right? I said earlier in this video, and I'll say it again, it's going to lead to a new thought in a minute, but just to bring some of it together, I said earlier in this video that we're really, right? Really the whole thing that's going on right now is there's still more things that need to be healed from the past, right? We think we're doing new things. Okay, but the new things we're doing are really to alert us to more stuff that needs to be healed. The new stuff really isn't going to come till Aries season, the solar eclipse in Aries, and after Mercury finishes going retrograde in Aries, which is going to be around April sometime. Okay, that's what I want to say there. And that's really when the new things here are going to come together in the way that we need. But I also want to note as well, in April, even though there's more healing, right? And more releasing of the past, it's going to be the focus soon at that new moon in Pisces, March, a lot of March here, and I think a good bit of April. Once we finally figure out this old stuff and release all of this old stuff, I think things are going to come together in a newer way, faster than we thought and better than we thought here as well. So I think that's another thought. I don't want you all getting discouraged to just be like, oh, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, things like that. Here, it's sometimes you need to go backwards in order to go forwards, and sometimes going backwards is the fastest way to go forward, so it's like, if once you finish working through some of these things from the past, it's like you're gonna go forward faster than you would if you didn't work the stuff out, and you're actually gonna figure things out, I think, pretty quickly and better than you could have thought, and maybe to in unexpected ways at the end of April when Jupiter and Uranus come conjunct, which is also a rare and unique and I think a positive alignment here as well. Okay. Another thought that I want to say, knowing that, right, if starting at the new moon in Pisces 2 weeks from now till April, which is like a month and a half, is going to mostly be about healing more of the past and releasing more of the past before we get this new approach, which is actually probably going to happen faster and more positive and in more unexpected ways than we could have thought it would happen here. But the other thought that I want to give you is that also indicates that maybe not now, okay, I'm going a little ahead. Maybe not this full moon in Virgo for which this video is for, but especially 2 weeks from now, that focusing on releasing the past is actually going to be where maybe more of the energy needs to be, and where more of the success is going to be there as well. And where the more you can release the past, it's going to be like the faster these new things are going to come together, So there's also another thought there, maybe for another time, maybe not for this full moon in Virgo, but coming up, okay? They're connected. The new things are connected to the old things and finishing those. And the more we can release the past, it's like the easier these new things are going to become together, because we won't have all this old stuff weighing it down. And to keep that in mind. Okay, finishing old things is eventually going to be needed, which we're going to be talking about after this video for a bit. Anything else that I want to say? I know all the planets are direct. Okay, let me give another thought there. I used to think that when all the planets would go direct, it all of a sudden meant that like all the training wheels are off and it was a free for all, and we just could, beeline straight towards wherever we want to do. But I think what I've come to realize, just from my observations here over time, is that when all planets are direct, it's not like all the wheels are off and it's just free happiness, joy moving. I think what I've realized is that when all planets are direct, there is forward momentum and there is forward movement, but it's forward movement and momentum to heal and resolve a lot of old things from the past that we haven't fully resolved, and to work through those here, which isn't easy. It's not always easy to work through things, especially because the time period that all planets have been direct for the past few years has been at this time in the year, January, February, March, which is the ending of the zodiac. January, February, March is when we've got Capricorn season, Aquarius season, Pisces season, which are the 10th, 11th, and 12th signs here of the zodiac instead of the first. So I think that also contributes to it. Maybe if all planets were direct in Aries season and onwards, it might be different here, but I think I want to say another thought here too. I know all planets are direct and we might think forward momentum, happy, joy, whatever, but really all planets direct isn't about forward momentum to do anything anywhere. All planets direct is just about us having forward momentum to resolve old issues and conquer old problems, which can be a bit challenging, right? Because it's like I get forward momentum to do something and then there's an issue and then I got to resolve the issue and then I get forward momentum to do and then there's another issue and then I resolve the issue. So that's what it is. But it's different than when the planets are not direct, because when all the planets are not direct, you get forward momentum and then you realize there's an issue and then you spend the next few months working out the issue. You know, it's like, all right, now I got to spend 5 months to really work out an issue and now I'm set back, as to where when all planets are direct, there's still issues you have to work out, but you work through them quicker. So instead of taking 5 months to work out an issue, you're now working out the issue in 1 month or in a few weeks here that's going on. So I think that's my other thought about all planets direct, especially since it's been happening at this time of the zodiac, this time of the year. You're getting forward momentum not to do anything, but to keep working out old issues. We still have to work out old issues, but we're just working through, and they're still frustrating. They're still frustrating. We're just working through them better than maybe we were before, or a little bit quicker than we were before. And a little bit quicker doesn't mean no blockages, right? There's still blockages. It's just quicker. So I hope you all can understand that. And maybe that's a better way to put it. All planets direct doesn't mean that we have no blockages and no issues. There are still blockages and there are still issues. It just means we're working through them a little better, a little quicker than we were before. Here that's going on, you know, because the planets are still doing stuff and making aspects and hard alignments and things like that. And so I think that's all I'm going to say there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your inside degrees here. The inside degrees are not written by me. They were written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, who channeled the meanings for each of the degrees from spirit. But I like to look at them because I just find them very interesting and relevant. So we're going to do that. I'm going to look at them for the full moon. The full moon is in Virgo. It is at 5 degrees. So I've got those up on the screen. I do think all of these are relevant in some way, shape, or form, especially these, and can lead to very different conversations on each of them. But I think just the one for time's sake that I want to look at is going to be 6 degrees, 6 degrees Virgo here that I want to focus on. Okay, now the full moon is at 5 degrees, right? But I think they're all relevant for 5 and 6 because the planets are in motion. So obviously right before the moon becomes full, it's at 4 degrees. When it's full, it's at 5, the next one's 6. And I think the rule is that you're supposed to look at the degree up, but I'm not really one for rules. So anyways, we're going to do 6 degrees. Virgo, it says a towering stature, containing within yourself a vast creative force that can fill the world with its diverse and multiplex awareness. Okay, I liked this degree, and I like this degree because this full moon in Virgo is going on at the same time we have Mars and Venus conjunct, right? Mars, the masculine, Venus, the feminine, they create new life when they're together. And here we get a degree that says a vast creative force. So I think there's definitely something going on at this full moon where we are feeling more able to create something new and something different, even if that will be a little short-lived. Okay, let's read on. It says you have a graphic ability to evoke, to capture, to epitomize a realm, a world, to draw it forth, to highlight it. And then this extends into many others, such that the illumination, the fresh angle is sharply relevant and universally resonant. Okay, I like this. Not only is it saying we have a creative force going on, but that it's helping us to create different worlds, realms, to bring different experiences forth in many different areas, right? Extends into many different areas of our lives. Let's read on. It says, experiencing for yourself the wisdom of the ages, proving it out afresh by experimentation and open discovery. So not only are we creating things, it's expanding into many areas of our life, but we're trying stuff too. We're trying stuff and experimenting. Okay, piercing to the core with your fluent present in the world, saying in so many different ways, here it is again, I found it over here. The living proof that nature is totally alive, that the creative power is everywhere, and that all of it yearns to be given a voice, to be celebrated, to be acknowledged by one who can reach the vast and penetrate to the details and make macrocosm and microcosm one. Okay, so not only I think is a degree saying we're very creative, it's expanding into many different areas of our life, helping us to see new potentials, and we're experimenting with different things, but that a lot of the stuff that we're experimenting here is helpful and is useful and is I think, important to ourselves and to what we're trying to do. Not only that, but I also get another thought here from this sentence. Here it is again. I found it over here that just hit me as well. You know, these things that we're trying out here at this full moon that we're being creative about, even if we're eventually going to have to slow down to heal some old things, I think there is truth. I think there is truth in them, or if not truth, I think they are destined for us. So that's another thought that I want to add here too. A lot of the stuff that you all are trying out and doing differently, even though you may not get a full stride in those till April, I think they are the seeds here of something beautiful to come. And not only are they the seeds of something beautiful to come, even if you can't work on them right away here, but that there is a purpose to work on them later here that's going on, and to not discount some of these ideas. Right? Like some of the ideas that you're getting at this time, you're getting because they're divine and they're meant for you, even if you won't fully be able to pursue them right until April. So I hope that you all are understanding. I'm not getting the sense that these are throwaway ideas. I don't get the sense that you all are like, let me just try any stupid creative thing and then you're going to forget about it. It's like, no, the ideas that you all are getting now, even if you can't get a full drive on them till April, are important, are beautiful ideas, are destined, are purposeful, are meant to stay with you here and for you to pick up and carry on here to explore more as time goes on, and to keep that in mind. And that a lot of these things that you're trying now are like prophecies or like visions of what is to come soon in April, even if you aren't fully there yet. Right? And I think that's all that I'm going to say there. Is there any other thing that I want? Well, is there any other degree I wanted to look at? Because this was all positive. 4 and 5 aren't as positive here. But I like 6 because I thought it really captured the Virgo with the Mars and Venus. Then I want to look at Pisces, right? Because we've got Saturn at 9 degrees Pisces. And I want to look at that really quick. Yeah. Let's look at that. I know the sun itself is at 5 degrees, but we've got Saturn here at 9. And so I just wanted to look at that. Saturn is important here, and just see this very briefly, because I think this might get the other side of the interpretation here. See, Saturn at 9 degrees says darkness calls to those who have been surfeited with too much compromise and too unbearable a load of suffering. There are regions of the dark to live out parts of self or all of self for a time, and inside the darkness an immense power of what is here in the earth and still raging can be felt and harnessed. You are imaginatively and inwardly pulled towards the great extremes, not able to go on in any unusual way, but you ultimately fathom the mysteries in the depths by exploring all there is, right? And finding in the end that all is sacred and beautiful. So I think the thing that stands out to me about this degree 9, where Saturn is the darkness calls to those who've been weighted with too much compromise and too unbearable a load of suffering. And so I think that really what we're eventually going to need to resolve later, 2 weeks from now, is going to be the fact that we felt, right, especially with the South Node in Libra about compromise, is that we felt for the past, however many years, that we have had to compromise too much and we've suffered too much. And I think there's still something about that mindset here, and maybe even some physical things from the past that still need to be worked out. So that's where I might get some of the other aspects of the full moon coming into play, even though I think that 6 degrees Virgo is the one I like the best for here. And I think that's it. Because that's it, I'm going to go ahead and pull your card. So let me do that. Your card is Temperance here, upright. This is interesting. Temperance is about, it's about balance. It is about moderation. Here in a lot of ways, even though I might see that a little more as justice here. And it's also about healing here. Let's see what we've got at the bottom of the deck. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 2 of Pentacles reversed, which is also about balance because it's a 2 here, and it's reversed. Yeah, there's definitely a challenge of balance is what these cards are saying to me here. Definitely a challenge of balance. And I think it's the challenge of balancing the outer new things we want to do and the well, I think it's multiple things. A challenge of balancing the outer world here and things we want to do there, and the inner world and things that need to be worked through in that way. And it's a challenge of balancing new things we want to do with the past and the old stuff that hasn't fully been worked through. I think there's some, right, and healed. I think there's a challenge here of balancing those two here and getting those right, the outer and the inner and the past and the new stuff here in the right proportions. Okay. Not only is this a challenge of balance, but I think the thought, you know, I really do. I think the thought is like sometimes you have to get out of balance in order to get into balance. I just feel that here with this. I mean, the South Node's in Libra. Okay, but we don't have a square to the nodes anymore. And the resolution node isn't Libra anymore. So now we're getting the North Node Aries, and we are coming up to Aries season soon. So another month from now. So, and Aries is not about balance. It's just about doing stuff, right? In the North, and Chiron's conjunct the North Node, bringing us more to the Aries. So I think there's definitely a challenge of balance here. And I think I've explained that between the outer world and the inner world, and the new stuff and the old stuff and all of that that's going on, that is going to need to be rebalanced in some sort of way. Okay, we are coming up. I think the next full moon month from now is going to be in Libra. Might be an eclipse there. Okay, but even though we need to get it together, sometimes you have to get unbalanced in order to get balanced. And sometimes you have to see where the pain points are that are stopping you from being balanced in order to bring things together and to be aware of that. Right? Okay, anything else? Sure, another thought, you know, sometimes I see temperance as being like a card about divine connection here with the divine in some kind of way, and she is meditating in this card. And so I think another thought that I want to say here is that there might be, the divine might take us on a weird way to balance all this stuff over the course of the next few weeks, might take us through like a weird path to figure all of this stuff out that maybe isn't what you had in mind or envisioned or what you originally wanted, but it doesn't mean that it's not the best path or the right path or things like that. And to be open to working things out when it comes to this new approach in ways that you maybe didn't first think or intend here, because I think that will be helpful. And I think that's all I'm going to say there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you all have a good full moon, the best that you can, and I will talk to you on the next video. Like and subscribe if you like this video. Have a good one.